Greetings, YouTube. This past weekend was July 4th, a holiday I had mixed feelings about. On the plus side, who doesn't like a day off? Even if the people who go to watch the fireworks are annoying because I live about 2 blocks away from where they're held. But the holiday itself is something that I still have mixed feelings about. I'm glad I'm an American. We have more freedom than most nations in the world. I wouldn't be able to make this video in some countries. I could get arrested without charge, without reason, without telling anyone I know, which is one of the reasons I was so distraught when the Bush administration enacted policies that did things just like that. But when Jefferson wrote the concept that became the Declaration of Independence, it really wasn't independence for everyone. It really only applied to white male landowners. If you weren't a landowner, he wasn't talking about you. If you weren't male, you didn't get a vote, and you weren't considered equal. And if you weren't Caucasian, you can forget it. They could still own you, or at least marginalize and ignore you if you weren't black, say if you were brown, or you were red, or you were yellow. America has some wonderful ideals, and I just think that we fail to live up to them a lot of the time. I want to see true equality and transparency under the law for all Americans. Everybody viewed equally. The amount of money you have, your religion, your political affiliation, your gender, your sexual orientation should have nothing to do with how the law sees you. It doesn't work like that much in practice. But I think it's getting better over time, and I have hope that things will improve as we enter the future. As more and more states decide that, the sexual orientation of a person doesn't matter if they want to get married, that's a positive thing. And heck, we even had the good news out of India recently that they've decriminalized something that should have never been a criminal act at all. But we still have a long way to go here. Our education system is uneven at best. We don't teach our children the true nature of our own history. I mean, I didn't learn much about our conflicts beyond the Civil War when I was in school. We didn't discuss World War I, let alone World War II, and forget Vietnam. So I didn't have any context for a lot of these conflicts. Why were we involved in World War I? How did we get ourselves involved in World War II? And of course, the absolute chaos that involved our country in Vietnam. And that's important for our students to know. And yes, a high school student, they're complex enough to handle these issues. But they have to be shown the information fairly. They have to be shown the information uncolored by jingoism. Now, I'm not much of a patriot. I never have been. In fact, before Obama's election, I never in my entire life had ever said I was proud to be an American. But I was proud at that moment. And that memory still makes me proud. But I'm deeply opposed to jingoism. The concept that it's my country, right or wrong. That's an unhealthy attitude for the person that holds it, and it's an unhealthy attitude for the nation at large. Because our nation is wrong sometimes. And when we are, we need to make the corrections. And more importantly, we need to admit that we're wrong. Because if you can be honest with yourself and with everybody else, that's a much healthier attitude. But sadly, the easiest person in the world to lie to is yourself. Whether you're a person or a nation. Because Americans want to think of themselves as the good guy, as the hero. So when we do things that aren't heroic, and that are morally gray, sometimes downright black, we don't like to remember that. I mean, how many American students currently in high school right now know about our involvement of the White Russian fighting the communists on Russian soil? I mean, how many Americans my age know that we had troops in Russia helping the White Russians try to defeat the communist uprising? I know I didn't learn that in school. It took me years to find that piece of information. But I can guarantee you that the Russians remember it. And they tell their students and Americans were on our soil, helping to trying to wipe out people that they often view in a kind light as revolutionaries. The communists after the revolution may have done despicable things, but their ideas of overthrowing the White Russian government weren't necessarily bad. And we help support that regime. And yet American students aren't taught that. Much the same way in Japan, their students aren't really taught about the Japanese role in World War II. These bits of cultural amnesia are unhealthy and should be avoided. We need to teach our students the truth about our nation. And the beautiful thing is if we do that, the good things we have done will shine. And we can use that light to help us see into the darkness, see where we made mistakes, see what our flaws are so we can fix them. Because if you ignore those flaws, if you turn your head away from that darkness, nothing's ever going to change. Nothing will ever get better. I may not much enjoy sunshine on my skin, but as a philosophical concept, I want it shown into every corner of our dark history as often as possible.